Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Minster Youth YouTube channel. I'm so excited because today I'm interviewing the very lovely Rachel Gardner. Yes. Welcome,
Yay!
Rachel.
Hey, Beth.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm currently squashed in my son's bedroom. I'm sat on his bed. He's a toddler, so I'm surrounded by like a dinosaur pillow.
Oh, cute.
Little lion. Look at that. Ooh,
So sweet.
very
And his
cute.
little bunting.
Yeah, he's little bunting. Look at that.
Aww. So sweet. Thanks so much for joining us.
This is a
So,
pleasure.
this
You.
is so weird, isn't it? You live like round the corner. We've got to do it on Zoom, but
I know, it's very sad. It's very sad, but it's okay. We can, thank goodness, like we've got all this technology. I was saying to a friend recently, if this has happened like back in the day, like 20 years ago, how would we have stayed in touch? That's like write little postcards
oh,
in pigeon little claws and they'd fly
yeah,
between houses. Yeah.
yeah, so thankful. So let's
Yeah.
just get straight into it, Rachel. Who are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do? Go.
Yeah. So I live in Preston, from London, moved in the summer, married to Jason. He's one of the leaders at Preston Minster.
Mhm.
Um, I work for a charity called Youthscape, which I love, helping churches think about connecting with and supporting young people. I'm president of the Girls Brigade, England and Wales.
That's so cool.
Um,
I loved brownies.
brilliant. Not brownies, it's Girls Brigade, but yes, that's brilliant. Um, and I'm a mum. I'm mummy to Daisy and Thomas, and I'm an extrovert coping with the lockdown. Ooh, that's me.
Oh, perfect. So, Rachel, you work for Youthscape and you've done a lot of like work with young people in your life. Can you describe any like key moments in your life that have led you to do what you do now?
Yeah, well, I was actually a really shy teenager. And I was one of those people that had a couple of really close friends and then kind of people that I'd hang out with. But I left high school when I was 17, 18, like just not knowing what I was about. And my family had been homeless, we'd sofa surfed and lived with different people, never had money to buy stuff. So I kind of felt like my teenage years, I felt quite invisible and I didn't really feel that I fitted in.
Mhm.
Um, and when I sort of got to my sort of early 20s, I really felt God say, I really want you to connect with the generation just behind you. And I was like, no way, God. I was a really poor, like
Mhm.
I was not a very good teenager. Like I haven't got any fun stories of being a teenager. But then I moved to London and I got a job working for a youth charity. And
Mhm.
one of the very first things I did was went into a high school. And back in those days, we're talking like 15 years ago, back in those days, as a youth worker, you could say to young people, like, do you need to go to the doctors? I'll take you in my car. So
Wow,
these,
yeah, that's cool.
yeah, these two girls were aged sort of 15, 16. And one of them had had sex with a guy that she'd met the
Mhm.
week before. She was really distressed about it and she was crying and she couldn't sit through her lesson. So the teacher like sent her out with her friend to go and see the school nurse. And so I bumped into them and the school nurse said they've got to go, and get some tests for
Mhm.
sexually transmitted infections and pregnancy. Would you go with them? And I was like, yeah. So I sat in the waiting room in the local hospital with these two girls I didn't know,
Mhm.
and we just got chatting. And I said to the girl who we were there for, I said, what do you want to talk about what happened? You don't have to, you don't know me, but we've got a bit of time while we're waiting. Do you want to chat? And this girl said, well, I'm fed up with being the only 16-year-old that isn't in a relationship, isn't having sex. And my best friend here, like, she has loads of guys and has loads of sex and stuff. And her best friend was sat there and just lifted like the Hello magazine in front of her face like this.
Oh.
And I just thought, oh. And I said to her friend, do you want to say something? And her friend said, I'm really sorry, but I've never had sex. I was lying. I just wanted people to think that I had. And I was sat in this waiting room with these two girls that were like, they were best friends. They
Yeah.
weren't. And I just thought, wow, I found my teenage years really hard. And
Mhm.
these girls are finding it really hard. I'd love to do something that would just help young people just be themselves and not feel the pressure to do things that they're not ready for, or they don't want to do, or that it's okay to say, I'm just me, and sometimes that's exciting and sometimes that's not, and it's okay, I'm just being me, and that's enough. It's okay, it's enough to be me. And then a week later, can you believe it, Beth, a week later, I got a phone call from a media company in central London who wanted to do a documentary series on that very topic. And so I jumped at it, and I got a friend involved, and No Sex Please for Teenagers happened, and the rest is history.
That is amazing. Can you still get that documentary on like YouTube or anything?
You can.
Yes.
All about the parachute pants. So remember, guys, we're talking early to mid noughties, 2005, 2006. All about the parachute pants.
That's so cool. Well, I'm going to be watching that. So you did this series, and then on TV, and then that kind of led into something called Romance Academy, and that's still running now. So will you tell us a little bit about Romance Academy and what it does, how it still applies to young people today?
So can you believe it? Like the TV documentary, it was a 3-part documentary series on BBC Two. It happened before the days of Snapchat and WhatsApp.
Yeah.
And you can't believe it, can you? Like I can't remember that time really. But we had lots of young people emailing us. They got our details off the bottom of the credits, and they got hold of us. And we had, me and Dan, this guy I did it with, we had young people from around the country emailing us saying, I didn't know that I had a choice. I didn't know that I could just be me. I didn't know that I didn't have to go along with stuff and have sex.
Yeah.
These were not Christian young people, not at all. So we were like, oh, maybe we could like turn this into some kind of program or course that other amazing young people and other amazing youth workers, best people in the world, Beth, that's you, can be running this sort of thing. So it became a charity and just really became an opportunity for people who care about young people and who care about the mixed messages that are really confusing. They can say to young people, look, I haven't got all the answers and this could get a bit awkward, but let's just talk about the stuff in culture that's difficult to navigate. And we've seen lots of young people become Christians, not because Romance Academy is particularly evangelistic, because we don't have any Bible stuff in there, there's no prayer, but because I think when people are able to stand back and stop and say, actually, what am I about? And what is this about? Often it opens up like the biggest questions of all. And so I'm really excited about that. It's really
That's good. So cool. Such a great like resource, isn't it, to see what happens. So what would you say that you think are some of the biggest challenges today that young people face around sex and relationships and all of that kind of stuff? And what would your advice be to them?
Well, I think it's really interesting because when I started out as a youth worker working in this area of sexual health, the biggest worry in our country was underage teenage pregnancy. And then in sort of 2010, teenage pregnancy rates suddenly went down, less teenagers were getting pregnant. Do you know what else happened in 2010?
No.
Media, the birth of social media, and young people taking their lives online. And so what we've seen is, in many ways, less young people are having kind of intimate sexual relationships. That is still happening, but there's less about that. And what I think we see more now, and young people chat to me about this, is it's more about what they see online. So it's about the digital sexual content, it's about pornography, it's about things like Pornhub, it's about those little kind of films that kind of pass around on YouTube or on TikTok. And it's kind of the messages that go with that, which actually can give the impression that everybody's doing it all the time. Everybody's got this amazing life, amazing relationships, amazing sex life, and that you've got to be totally cool with whatever kind of sexual content comes your way. And so I'm not going to go into any more details on that, because I recognize that what I'm chatting about is big and it's massive, and some people listening to this will know exactly what I'm talking about, and others like, oh, what are you talking about? And that's okay. But I think that it's the amount of stuff now that we can access online, which when I was a teenager, you couldn't access it, you couldn't find that stuff, you had to go and get a VHS catalogue to see any, anything, any body parts or anything. So I think that's a massive thing. And also right now, young people are trapped indoors with their families. So it's interesting. It's going to be interesting for us to listen to you, amazing young people, to hear from you. What effect is this having on how you feel about yourself, about your friendships, your relationships, all that kind of stuff? Are there going to be more young people benefiting from this, or is there going to be a sense of more loneliness, like young people feeling, actually, I really want friends, I really want a relationship, but I just don't know how to go about actually having a friendship or a relationship because I've just been indoors for so long. So it's interesting, isn't it? So I think pornography is still the massive pressure, the massive issue.
And what would your advice be to someone that might be struggling with that at home right now? What is your advice to them?
Well, I think my heart goes out to you as well, because I think if we're at home and we've got a lot more access to screen time and a lot less time and a lot less other things to do. So I would say that the reason looking at stuff like nudes or sending nudes or looking at porn online is so addictive is because actually what it does is it produces a dopamine chemical in your brain. That it's not because you're somehow weird or perverted, it's just that actually what you're seeing is causing some kind of reaction. It's kind of turning you on and it's producing some dopamine in your brain. So the brilliant things that we can do is that we can do something else that makes us feel good. So even if it is switching on a Netflix series that you really enjoy, even if it is eating a cake, eating a bag of crisps, sitting in the sunshine, kicking a football in the garden, going outside, getting yourself physical, actually will produce these endorphins of dopamine in your brain, which will help you to not keep going back to the phone and scrolling through and looking for stuff. Now, if you have people in your household that you're isolating with who you trust and can have conversations with, and even if it's just like, actually, I want to be off my phone more, not even because of porn, it's like, I don't want to be endlessly scrolling through stuff. You can sort of say, look, can I give you my phone for half the day? Or can you help just say to me, actually, time's up? Like that could be an amazing way to get control back of your life a little bit. But I think the first thing, Beth, probably is to be able to be honest with yourself. Okay, is there stuff that you're looking at or patterns of behavior like, I wish I didn't do that, it's not helped me? Just being honest about it is the best start. And it could be scrolling through Insta, like you scroll. There's somebody I chatted to yesterday online, and she said she just has cancelled Insta because she realized that every time she scrolled through Insta, she'd put the phone down after a couple of hours and feel rubbish about herself. Like, completely rubbish. It's like, I don't need to be feeling rubbish about myself. And so she cancelled Insta, which I think is so amazing and so brave. So
it takes a lot of, because it's so everyone's on Instagram, isn't it? And right now it's like one of the only ways that we can chat to people, so to not do that is such a big step. But I guess if it's beneficial, then we've just got to
absolutely.
I'm not on Facebook loads, but whenever I went on it, I was just like, oh, I just feel like I'm getting shouted at. So I just...
And I think things like what you're doing, Beth, is really good. So I think, it's really nice to kind of be in touch with the world out there. And it's so nice when someone likes your image, and it's so nice when someone, like, it makes you feel so good. But I think make sure you're connecting with what Beth is organising here. Because I think this is it's an online community at the moment, but it's a real community. These are real people, and you can take your mask off and be yourself. You haven't got to be your best life. You haven't got to have the perfect angle and brilliant lighting. You just be you, and that will help you massively through this time. Like, of course, get on TikTok, laugh at all the stupid films, get on Insta, like, of course, play Minecraft with 1 billion people around the world, of course, do all that. But make sure that you're connecting with this community, with Beth and the others, because these are the people that know you and love you. And when someone says something nasty from somewhere else, you don't know them, they don't know you. Their opinion of you, that's their opinion, but it's not truth. It's not, it's not who you are. Whereas these people here, it's really amazing. Like Megan's film, I loved it, and I loved all the responses to her dance. Like, we know you, Megan. We love you, Megan, and our opinion of you matters because we love you. So I think that's cool. Good on you, Beth. It's so good.
Oh, thanks, Rachel. Okay, so next question, a little bit around that, but I guess right now, I mean, I suppose we've talked a bit about online stuff, and I guess there's other things we can pick up though about what do you think our teenagers might be really struggling with right now in isolation and locked at home? And again, like, what would your advice be?
Yeah. I guess you beautiful people listening to this, you know better than me, but
Yeah.
I'm picking up a little bit of the FOMO, fear of missing out, and I feel that massively.
Yeah.
It's a weird time. Like our culture has never had this before, where we're all. It's like our life is suddenly very flat, and it's suddenly very slow, and I think we can feel that we're missing out on what's really happening. So that if we're not constantly online, constantly connected with everything, then we're just at home.
Yeah.
And so I think be really kind to yourself. Like,
Yeah.
remember, there's not a single person on the planet who is on the go all the time, totally in the middle of everything, totally nailing it all the time. There's nobody out there that you've got to be like.
Yeah.
There's nobody out there, even those that you think online, oh, they're living their best life.
Yeah.
They've just shown you their best photos. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just give yourself permission that you're just being you, and actually what you're feeling, probably pretty much everybody else is feeling too.
Yeah, so true.
So we can feel extra lonely, can't we? Like, not only am I stuck at home with a family that are driving me insane, but I'm the only one feeling this. No, that's not true at all.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is probably some young people.
Mm-hmm.
I find that this stage are like, yeah, it's all right, it'll change, I can get on with my work. So some people, this isn't affecting them, it's fine.
Yeah.
I think young people are really anxious about whether they're going to get COVID-19, about elderly relatives that they're a bit worried for, and all that kind of, about their mum going to the shop to get food, about their dad going out. There can be a lot of anxiety. So I think just being honest about your anxiety. And again, anxiety is a bully. So anxiety will say to you, actually the worst is going to happen. Of course, the worst is going to happen. So what we need to do is talk back to our anxiety and say, okay, I feel anxious. There is something really serious going on. But actually, what are the facts? The facts are that actually still somebody is more likely to die from being in an airplane crash or whatever it is than they are from COVID-19. There are things I can do, wash my hands, social distancing, and these things really matter. So you can be really in control, really powerful with this stuff. And then, of course, the Bible says, bring our anxious thoughts to God. Like, talk to him about this.
Yeah.
And say to him, this is how I feel, and this is what it makes me think, and this is how my thoughts and my feelings get all messed up and mushed up, and I can't stop. Because God gives us his peace, and his peace comes from outside of us, and it floods us, and it can really help to halt those thoughts and to really calm our emotions. So I think be super kind to yourself.
That's so true. I think FOMO for me, I don't know about you, Rachel, but I have massive FOMO like most of the time. So I think it was yesterday, and I was just like, I don't want to sit on my phone all day and just dream about what I could be doing, or like where I could be, or who I could be with. And I think really just taking a bit of time for ourselves and not trying to like keep up with what anyone else is doing, but just doing stuff you enjoy for like an hour or something. So having a bath like is my top tip whenever I just want to have a bit of me time. I go for a bath, or like do some baking. Like, I didn't even have the right ingredients, but I just made a cake because it's just a bit of you time, just to kind of catch up with yourself, isn't it? And like not try and keep up with what everyone else is doing, but just check in with you and have a little bit of time for you, and just
definitely
yourself a bit.
Do you know what I also think? Because I think I remember when I was a teenager, there was some time where I shared a bedroom with my sibling, and there were other times where I did have my own bedroom. But I think even if like you feel you don't have much control in this house, it's not your house, it's your parents' house, like what can you control? What can you move? So if you have a bedroom, like, can you move your furniture around?
Yeah,
Like, just
great idea.
lay it out differently, just
Yeah.
ring the changes, make things look a bit different. Also, boundaries really matter, and your parents will need this too, but it might be when you're like, I just want to have an hour on my own in the lounge or in the garden, or half an hour, and just like, you need that privacy, you need to be able to think your own thoughts. So
Yeah.
if every time you're on your own, you're online,
Yeah.
it won't be kind of feeding your
Hmm.
spirit, it won't be making you feel calm. So maybe give yourself like 20 minutes a day on your own without your phone,
Yeah.
just sitting quietly, just thinking, having a cup of tea, having some chocolate, having ice cream,
Yeah.
whatever. And that can really calm you down, actually, or dancing outside, or whatever it is that you want to do.
Yeah, that's some great advice. Joe often takes 20 minutes and just plays some basketball outside.
See.
Got a little basketball hoop, so when it's getting too much, I find him outside.
That's your code for quick.
Yeah.
Make him his favorite drink.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what would your 3 takeaways from what we've talked about be for our young people from our conversation?
Oh, okay. 3 takeaways would be, you're amazing.
Yeah.
And actually, this is going to sound so patronizing, old person now. I have to really watch this, but like, you each, I know most of you that are probably watching this, and you are just fantastic. And actually, who you are, there's so much more of you to get to know. And I'm really excited about that. So I think, as you're sitting in lots more contemplation and like sat at home with a family that's driving you insane potentially, don't think this is all it's ever going to be, and don't think you've discovered everything about yourself yet. Like, there is so much more about yourself you're going to discover. There's so much more you're going to do, and places you're going to go, and things you're going to see, and lives you're going to touch. Like, and that's so, you know, it's okay to go, okay, this is a bit rubbishy right now, but actually I know that I've got this amazing future in front of me. The second one is, and we've not really talked about this, Beth, but I would say, find a way to bless somebody else. Like, when things get really difficult, I find I get quite self-absorbed and focused on myself. And what can really help me is think, okay, today, is there one thing I can do for somebody else? And I took my kids for one walk a day a couple of days ago, and a little old lady, a very little old lady, in her window knocked on the window and waved to us. And so we went up. She didn't open the window, but we sort of talked through the window, and she's on her own. You know, her lovely neighbours bring her food, but she was just desperate for company. And so it could be that actually next time you go for your little walk, if that's what you can do, just like have a little eye out. Is there anybody like on your street that you could do a great bit of artwork for? You could do something, so do something for somebody else. And the third thing is, get on Google Maps today and just go and visit somewhere that you've never been and you'd love to go. Like, just go and visit a little village in the middle of Morocco or something, like, just because our lives feel so small.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So every day, just go travel the world for 5 minutes every day, and then say, God, this is your beautiful world, and I've just seen some, villages and wherever it is, and thank you, God, that you're in control. So I'd really encourage you to do something that just blows your mind and blows your horizons. So okay, nothing to do with sex or relationships, Beth. I'm so sorry.
The Google Maps trick.
It's so cool.
Yeah, I've been to Fiji.
Yeah. Actually, maybe that could be like a little live chat thing. We could all be in different places.
That'd be so fun. Yeah, let's do that. Rachel, that was amazing. Thank you so much for chatting to me and us. And hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks so much, Rachel. And we'll see you all soon. Bye.